Hey everybody, Eric Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness, leading the movement for movement. And if you are ready to become an Autism Fitness certified pro and serve the autism and neuroadaptive population in fitness and adapted PE ways you never thought possible, then it is your chance, your opportunity, your time to become an Autism Fitness certified pro. The link to register, the link to learn more about it is in the description below here. And in this Tuesday training, as I lower my camera a little bit, I want to talk about a concept. This is both philosophical a little bit and practical, and that is objects versus objectives. It's something that I've been talking about with reference to autism fitness practices for quite some time. And it sounds intriguing, I'm sure. What does it actually mean when we talk about an object, a thing versus objectives, a goal that we have for an athlete? It is very easy to become enamored with shiny toys. Even more so when it's something that can catch the attention or capture the attention of one of our athletes. So, for example, in a gym setting, there are many different pieces of equipment. There are many different things that can be used for a variety of purposes. The thing that we want to keep in mind is what is the movement goal for this particular athlete at this particular time. So rather than frame it as, oh, this thing is really cool, let's see how we can use it, which is a good example where this has value is in creative play. So if you have a stability ball, for example, we used to call them Swiss balls, the big bouncy balls, all right? Coming up with different ways to utilize it, whether you're throwing it, bouncing it, rolling on it, having it roll on you. There are a myriad different ways to use that Swiss ball, all right? But what we want to keep in mind is what is the actual strength, stability, motor planning goal for this athlete or for these athletes within a given training session or within a program also. So creative play is one thing. That, however, is a separate opportunity or a separate objective from what we want to get done within the structure of a fitness or adapted PE setting. It doesn't mean that there isn't a place for creativity or a place for variety. That's not the case. The question is variety from what? And how much do we need of a given movement pattern or a given activity in order to create a training outcome or a training stimulus? What is going to be the movement pattern that creates a training effect? A training effect is what happens physiologically when we are getting stronger, when there is the occurrence of more depth or more volume in the muscle fiber. Density is the actual word that I want to be using here, not depth, but density in the muscle fiber. Some physiological change to the benefit of the athlete. They're getting stronger, they're getting more stable, their motor planning gets better, they get quicker, they get more explosive, they are able to stabilize better. All of these great things that we are working towards with any particular athlete. So variety, when we say, oh, this week we're going to use this medicine ball for push throws, and next week we're going to use a bigger ball, and then the week after that we're going to use a volleyball. It seems like there's generalization there, but is the athlete actually developing the skill? And what we have learned through countless training sessions in the autism fitness method, both myself and our certified pros, is that repetition, consistency is the game winner and the game changer. Doing a lot of the same thing over and over and over and progressively increasing the challenge level of the exercise. So increasing the distance on a push throw, or increasing the weight on a sandbell for an overhead press, or increasing the depth. See, this time I'm using depth correctly. It was muscle density, not muscle depth, because that's not a thing. When we focus on building up that particular skill in a linear way that is progressive, then we're going to have a better outcome for our athlete, because that performance is going to improve and we're going to see it generalize to new areas and new abilities. That is the whole goal of what we're doing. If we are taking a detour on a regular basis because, ooh, we got a new this, or ooh, we got a new that, let's see that's okay to use as a reinforcer. It's okay to use in the last 2 or 3 minutes of a class as a little discovery playtime, but it is critical to build a program around the physical, adaptive, and cognitive needs. In this case, we're focusing on the physical needs of our athletes. And we talk about physical needs, well, what do they need? Most, 99 point whatever, the cliched 0.999% are going to need strengthening exercises in the fundamental movement patterns: pushing, pulling, squatting, carrying, hinging, locomotion. Right? And how do we do that? Well, we use squatting and pressing and pulling, and in different variations, meaning we have 2 different pulls. So we have our standing band row, we have our band pull downs, gradually going towards maybe a suspension training, body weight row, eventually using dumbbells or kettlebells, sandbags, and heavier and for more weights, because that's what's been proven over many decades and even hundreds of years to get people stronger. So that's what's going to get our ASD and neurodiverse athletes stronger as well. If there's too much variety, and if we're constantly looking at, oh, we got in this new toy or this new game, let's use this, and it supersedes what our strength, stability, and motor planning goals are for those athletes, then we're not going to have the appropriate amount of volume and consistency with those exercises to create that training effect, right? So it's not about the piece of equipment itself. Now, that being said, there are pieces of equipment that we utilize and that we promote through Autism Fitness. And if you've watched my videos, if you've been following Autism Fitness, we are champions of Dynamax medicine balls and of sandbells and of resistance bands, of battle ropes, of cones, right? Because these pieces of equipment can be utilized with many different athletes at many different levels of ability, and they also lend towards a safe and efficient experience. All right, so the sandbells we can use for sandbell slams, we can use them for overhead presses, and hurdle steps we can use for a variety of different locomotive movement patterns. So they serve some very good and important purposes in our programming, and we can utilize them multiple ways. When we just say, oh, this looks cool, let's see how we can implement it with our athletes, then we're working backwards. It's more about the thing than it is about the person. And those are not always mutually exclusive, but oftentimes if it's thing first and person second, you have to ask, what is the goal? If it's person first, and we say, well, their squat pattern needs to be cleaned up and needs to be strengthened, how do we do that? Then the idea around what we need is going to materialize. Well, we need a box or a bench for them to squat to, because right now they can't get below parallel by themselves, free squatting. Well, we need some type of weighted object for them to press overhead, because just going like this up and down, number one, is probably not going to have much of an effect. And number two, it doesn't do anything for grip. It doesn't load the shoulder in any significant way. There are some outlier situations where there might be the case, but most of the time we want an object in each hand, i.e. the sandbell. So the need is going to dictate the piece of equipment, not the other way around. So that is objects versus objectives. We want the objectives first because we want to look at what that athlete needs to accomplish in order to get stronger, in order to have better motor planning. And then the piece of equipment is going to make sense. If we work backwards, then we may have inhibited or compensatory movement because We are moving the athlete around the piece of equipment rather than choosing a piece of equipment for the needs of the athlete. All right. Eric Chessen, founder of Autism Fitness. If that compelled you, please share it and subscribe. I never ask people to subscribe, but anyway, subscribe to the Autism Fitness here on YouTube. And if you are ready to become an Autism Fitness Certified Pro, then in the link below, you can discover more about what it is, what you get, and you can register as well. Thank you for watching.